What's going on, everyone? Slovosh here. Wanted to bring you guys another video today with Carnage. This is probably going to be my final build on Carnage unless they make some more updates. So far, Carnage is looking pretty damn good. He's a great melee hero. Pretty tanky if you know how to play him. So let me try to make a fairly quick video. I tend to be long-winded on these build videos, but I'm going to try to consolidate this a little bit, make it a little easier to digest. For those of you who don't really like the explanations of why I chose certain skills, please ask me questions in the comments of this video and I'll try to answer why I chose what I did. Outside of that, I'll probably just brush over what skills I'm using and my rotation, infinity, synergy, gearing, and then we're going to go ahead and do a cosmic daily bugle terminal, boss killing only, because right now the bounty is kind of fucked up. So that's the game plan today. So I just want to start off with my team up. I'm using Rescue. I think Rescue is a great team up, primarily because of her away status. She gets the base health regen, and then where it says plus 3%, I think that's some kind of error or emission or whatever. It used to be plus 3% healing from all sources. So I'm hoping that that's still the case with her. One way or another, she's a great team up for supporting any kind of hero that has like life on hit mechanics. She's very, very good for them. So like Blade, I use Rescue with Blade as well. So that's my team up. We're gonna just go right down the skill bar left to right here. We're using Sling Swipes. This is his basic. This is basically what you're going to target lock your bosses with. So you're going to sit here and hold that down on the boss the entire fight once you click onto them. And that'll keep you within melee range, help you move around, and then I'll show it has a auto like dash mechanic to it, so that'll keep you where you need to be with a lot of his other skills that are very close range. So let's go ahead and hop into the dash here. Vicious Lunge. This is his very short but quick dash, has a very short cooldown. This is also tagged melee movement, which is nice because this will trigger a lot of the movement type mechanics in the game. Anything that's tagged to benefit from movement, you can get a benefit from this as well. So some of your cosmic affixes, things like that. And then also your Midtown Signet Ring, which is one of our items that we're wearing. So we have lots of dashes. Feel free to use these very liberally with his attack sequence. I use this a lot to dodge projected attacks, especially when you're up in melee range. It's pretty easy to just jump to the other side of the boss and start attacking him on the backside. And that's one of the main mechanics I want to say that is super important when you're playing Carnage, is to use that dash very liberally and dodge the projected attacks. That way you can stay alive, because he has good damage mitigation and he has some good mechanics for staying alive. But if you're just sitting there tanking face shot after face shot of projected attacks, you won't stay alive very long with any hero. So use these dashes, get to the other side, and then have your basic recenter or rejustify where you are. So like if I was clicked on this car and I dashed over here, my basic would automatically jump me back to that car again if that was the boss, per se. On S skill, we're using Ruthless Webbing. This is your mobilize and vulnerability applicator. It's on an 8-second cooldown, but it's still very, very good. It will remain on the ground for a duration of time. Anyone who steps into that area of effect will be immobilized and also get vulnerability applied to them. So it does last for 3 seconds. We're using Pure Carnage. This is the major change from my test center build. Pure Carnage is now his new mechanic for healing himself. Through a talent, Pure Carnage basically becomes a secondary health kit, or med kit, I suppose. So this thing can heal you up pretty damn good with the talent that modifies this. And I'll get into that when I get in traits and talents. But Pure Carnage is replacing the dash attack that heals. So we're pretty much only staying on axe all the time, because this is tagged melee area, not knife or mace or anything like that. So you will stay in axe mode all the time, and this is an axe build, so that's why we are focusing on all the axe skills. Moving along, we got Axe Throw. Axe Throw is a direct projectile attack, and through a talent we get a couple charges of it, which I'm not sure if that's a bug or not. It doesn't actually say you gain charges anywhere from where I can read, but this will make the axe explode on contact and do like an AoE stunning splash damage. So turns this single line attack into a pretty good AoE trash clear, and this thing hits hard as fuck. So very, very good move. Probably one of my favorites besides Pure Carnage now on his new build. And feel free to use this very liberally as well. This will be pretty much free, and you'll have a lot of these charges. I don't know what the time cycle is. It says 6-second cooldown, but I swear sometimes maybe it's just really buggy, but I have way more charges than I should. But it makes the build very good. So this is a very good single target as well. Just feel free to throw these at the boss or any kind of trash mobs that you need eliminated. Next, we have Reaping Time. This is his signature, and his signature is pretty damn good. It feels really short. 4 seconds seems like a really short duration, but if you're in an area where you just need to clear out a bunch of trash and you need some health back and you also need to mitigate some damage, this does all of those. And then through some talents, this becomes much, much better, and we'll get into that in a second. Southern Slam is how I like to start off every battle. Basically, it's a jumping crash down type ability, and you can see how big the circle is right down there by the car. It's a pretty big area of effect once you land, but what's nice about Southern Slam is through a talent, you immediately, as soon as you hit a guy with this move, you gain 40% of your maximum symbiotic protection, and we use this symbiotic protection through Pure Carnage to heal ourselves, like spike heal ourselves, and then we also will gain a secondary armor mechanic, which you can view under the buff bar. You'll see as soon as I press this Pure Carnage, I'll drop all of my symbiotic protection, and I'll gain a stack of armor. There it is. So it gives me damage reduction, defense, and healing boost, which is fucking fantastic. And that's another major change. But that's through the talents. We'll get there in a second. But Southern Slam, great AoE trash clear. Also, very good way to start out your fights. This will spike your symbiotic protection up nice and high. You can do Ruthless Webbing, and then what I like to do is follow that all up with an Axe Sweep. This is talented to have a cooldown, but makes it hit much, much harder. This is a big AoE cleave, hits in the guys in front of him, applies that bleeding to all of them. Excuse me. And pretty damn good. Get it every 6 seconds, and it hits like a freight train. So that's the skill bar, guys. Let's hop right on into the talents. He's a tank hero, so that he's durability, strength, so that's how we're going to gear him. Symbiotic protection. Now, this is my actual second take of recording this. First time I didn't have any audio, which I'm a dumb shit for. But so I explained this very in detail on the first video, but for those of you who don't understand this mechanic of how it reduces damage, then absorbs the rest, ask me in the comments. I'll try to explain it the best I can, but I'm not going to brush over too much because I spent way too much time explaining this last time. But basically, even still with this build and the talents that I've chose, you get that 60% negation just by having it. So that's really good. Symbiotic Bond, he gets health on hit, which is great because he spends health to gain symbiotic protection, so we need as much health on hit as we can get. He's defense dodge and gets damage reduction from melee attacks, so that's great. Helps him be a little more durable. Under the first row, we're using No Pain, No Rain. This is what changes his symbiotic protection mechanic from being a damage sponge into a secondary resource for spike healing, and then you can see there the buff effect of symbiotic armor. Basically, this is saying if you use Pure Carnage to remove your symbiotic protection, then if you're above 75% of your max, so that's like from this tick right here and up, if you have that much of your symbiotic protection, and you'll gain symbiotic protection through Axe Sweep, Southern Slam, your Axe Throws, things like that, you'll build it up. But with this talent on, it doesn't get chewed away if someone's hitting you. Normally this will go away because it's absorbing damage rather than it hitting your health pool. But through this talent, it doesn't work that way. You just get the damage negation. The 40% extra damage will come through to your health pool, but that's great because we have lots of health regen, and things like that. But then if you activate it over 75%, you gain that symbiotic armor, which is total damage plus 10%, damage absorbed 10%, healing from all sources 10%, and it can stack 3 times and has a 15-second duration, which renews every time you gain a new stack. So this basically means you're doing 30% more damage, 30% damage absorbed, 30% extra healing from all sources. This talent is fucking ridiculous. I don't know what they were thinking when they put this in there, but I love how it works, and definitely makes the build. This is your main focus all the time when you're playing this version of Carnage, I think, is to just focus on getting above 75% with your symbiotic protection through your skills, and then activating your pure Carnage talent, which looks like this. That will hit all the guys around him, and then that will drain your symbiotic protection pool, and that'll give you a stack of that armor if you're above 75% when you activate it. So it's very, very good. Tier 2 talent, we're using Axe, or I'm sorry, Rampage to gain the Axe power. This is what buffs the Southern Slam into giving you 40% of your Rampage, or your symbiotic protection, and puts you in a Rampage buff, which gets you extra crit hit, extra health when enemies die, which is great. And it's 8-second buff duration, and symbiotic or Southern Slam is an 8-second cooldown skill, so you can keep this up 100% of the time. Tier 3, we're going Deadly at a Distance, just because it modifies Axe Throw into a bursting projectile that stuns, which is really good. Tier 4, we're doing Carnage Rules. Now this is what I was talking about with his signature. This move alone makes his signature ridiculous. And for this row, I think that you would have to be crazy not to use this talent. So basically it says whenever you kill an enemy while you're doing the channeling effect of your signature, which it's 4 seconds. So if you kill up to, every time you kill an enemy within the duration of this, it knocks 1 second off of the cooldown of the signature. So it's 40 seconds right now. If you kill 10 enemies, it will knock it down to 30, and you cap out at 10. So the fastest you can get this back is every 30 seconds. But that is what you want ideally, because that will give you a lot of uptime on your signature. But this talent, the main reason we're using it is because of the secondary effect there. It says for 14 seconds after you get done doing your signature, your slang swipes, which is your basic, you gain all the effects of all the different weapon damages. So you get health regen, crit hit chance, total damage versus bleeding, brutal chance, all that for 14 seconds, and it does basically 100% more damage. So it's doubling its damage, which is ridiculous. After you use your signature, if you just sit here and hit like a single target like a boss with just this move, and keep your applicators up for your dot damages, they will melt. I think you actually do more damage after your signature than you do during your signature, just because of this talent. It's crazy. By far one of my favorite talents that you can do with Carnage. That's very cool how that works. And then tier 5, we're doing Timber, just to buff our Axe power damage, because we're an Axe build. And this gives Axe Sweep some extra oomph, and it gives it a little cooldown. But 6 seconds is nothing in this build. You'll be dashing around enough that you don't really notice. Let's go ahead and move right into Infinity, guys. So one of the new things I've started to do, and just because it seems like it's a pretty good damage layer that just kind of runs in the background, is you'll notice on every one of these gems, I am putting one singular point into the gem infusion. So that will be something you'll see on every node. I'm not going to touch on it again, but the gem infusions on each one of these, if you're going to be over 150 for the masteries, this ends up adding up to quite a bit of damage that just runs in the background for you. It's almost like another damage layer. So I've been doing that on all my builds recently, and it's working out pretty well. So anyways, we're doing crit hit chance as much as we can get, and some, like I said, 1 point in the infusion, because I want to hit big yellow and big red numbers as much as I can get. Under power gem, again, the infusion, we're doing most brutal strike as we can get, and then strength is one of his archetype attributes, so we're putting points in there. Going with potency under reality gem, again, I'm only trying to hit that 150 gem mastery here. So between the infusion and this 150, we're done with this node for Carnage. We're going with Against All Odds. Now, I can't stress enough how much this node helps with survivability, and especially with Carnage, since his skills actually cost you health. This counterbalances all those health costs, and this will heal you up very, very nicely to keep you alive. And again, Infusion. We're doing Gravity well under the Space Gem because we want his base health to be nice and meaty. And then we're going with Durability because that's one of his primary Archetype attributes. And again, the Infusion. Under Time Gem, I love Temporal Loophole. I can't express enough how great this is. Attack speed is nothing to bat an eye at. That is a very good stat. And then movement speed, since the dash mechanics have been changed, this is another great node to have. And again, the Infusion. And that brings us back to where we started. So hopefully that's all clear cut. We're just aiming on a lot of these nodes to be a 150 plus or as close as we can get. His primary nodes, we're adding a little bit more to them. But since we're getting most of the gem masteries, we'll gain +1 to all attributes, which really synergizes well with the 1 point in the infusions. Moving along to hero synergies, guys. We're going Ant-Man, Cable, Cyclops, Emma Frost, Moon Knight, Nightcrawler, She-Hulk, Venom. That's kind of an iffy one for me because I figured he'd be low health, but he really doesn't ever get low health. Wolverine and X-23, since you'll be fighting a lot of bleeding targets. Venom is kind of the free spot. If you find a better one, you can put it in there. Maybe another good one would be swapping Venom for Blade. That'd be probably a good one because you get some life on hit. So we'll do that, actually, because I don't know how much I actually get below 50% health. I actively try not to, but that's that, guys. Let's hop right into the gearing, try to make this snappy. Going Fist of Apocalypse, just because it's got Brute, Crit, damage, some extra health, and primary stat. Advanced Circle to Sidorak, because it's durability. He's durability strength hero, and gives you some strike, tons of physical damage, and then that damage absorb shield. I can't stress enough how good this is for survivability, this artifact. It's a very good blend of time to live, time to kill kind of thing. So this is like one of my favorite artifacts. It was before the biggest update ever, but now it definitely is. Hydra Agent Medallion. This is great on Venom. Gives you primary stats, huge damage packet, extra defense, chance to gain some extra durability in fighting, which is another one of his primary stats, but it's a very low chance, and lots of attack speed. Strength, Crossbone, Teaching Credentials. You notice I don't have any Cosmics here. I just kind of threw those together. But Teaching Credentials, because of that crit hit to brutal damage stack ability, it just gets crazy big red numbers once you get this synergized up. He's also a melee ranged hero. We're doing all physical damage, but this helps with his crit hit, or brutal hit ratings as well, so that's good. I love Blessed Edge of Infinities, or Edge of Infinities, really. If you guys don't have a Gawk, these things drop everywhere. Just save these until you get yourself a Gem of the Cursed. So another alternate artifact would be Gem of the Cursed, or the symbiotic, Venom's artifact, and then Fred Duke's bodysuit. Things like that work pretty well on him. I'm using Lemuria's just because of the life on hit. Power Dupe, because the physical damage that we're doing will really spike the brutal damage. Using Excalibur because it's halfway between defense and offense. The melee damages are great. The defense rating is not too bad. That's one of his primary stats, which he gets synergized up pretty well. Crit hit rating is always welcome, and then the health on hit is really why we're using this, the rank 5, because whenever he's hitting, you want to gain that health back. Midtown Guardian Signet, we have a lot of moves that are tagged movement, so between his basic and the 7 dashes you have, and then his Southern Slam, he's got a lot of movement skills, so you'll pretty much always be rocking that Midtown Momentum buff, which, if you can roll it correctly, you can get up to 30% bonus damage every 5 seconds, so this pumps up your damage pretty damn good. Using all of his own uniques, obviously grade 69 with cattle and stone runes put into them through the enchanter. Now this is my horrible Cosmic Spirit core that I got going on, but one of the things you definitely, and this will be replaced at some point, one of the things you definitely want is the crit damage rating on all of your affixes, and then if you can, the Cosmic bonus that I have on this core is something that I will definitely try to get on my actual core, which I'm hoping for a trifecta with durability or strength or something like that. But definitely damage shield, health and life on medkit would be great. +3 to your primary stat, and then if you get any kind of melee damage or extra health on hit, that'd be fantastic. But that cosmic bonus of when you get defeated, you revive with full health and full spirit. That's really good because it's only a 2-minute cooldown, so that'll save your butt a bunch of times. Insignia of Quake, I was primarily just throwing this on there because it has really high crit damage and brutal damage. Outside of that, it's not a bad artifact. He does have a lot of area tagged moves, so this does benefit pretty well. If you have high enough crit rating and brutal rating, this is the way you want to go, I think. Using any pet with +3 to one of his primary archetypes, so this one's durability. It's pretty much all you're going for there. I think that's it. I don't know. I don't know that I missed anything else. I'm trying to move a little faster than normal. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and hop through this terminal, and I'll show you the rotation and kind of how we're going to manhandle these bosses. Again, I'm starting out with Southern Slam. Then I normally do the Ruthless Webbing to apply vulnerability. Then I'll cleave one time with this Axe Sweep. Then I'll start in on my Slang Swipes. And then once I know I have enough symbiotic protection built up, anything above 75%, I'm popping Pure Carnage to start building up that stack of armor, which goes up to 3 stacks. So you're definitely always focusing on maintaining those armor buffs, because that'll give you just shitloads extra damage. Basically, liberally use the axe throws on single targets or groups, and then I usually save reaping time for bosses. I'll try to sweep around a boss in a big area to the point of where I'm still hitting him with the tail end, but I'm clearing trash just to help reduce that cooldown of the signature. And then I continuously hit him with Sling Swipes. And again, you'll notice how much I dash around. Carnage has so many dashes that you really don't need to be afraid of ever using these up. They're on such short cooldowns that is how he plays. He is a very in and out kind of melee hero, but he hits hard as shit. So let's go ahead and kill some bosses here. Hopefully I can disarm these bombs without being interrupted too many times. Nope, ain't gonna happen. Alright, so again, I like to start out with that, and we'll come in, go with the stack real quick. You can see how that worked. But right now, his dashing around is not me. That's just me holding down his signature, which is a very good, or I'm sorry, holding down his basic. And you'll see me medkit every once in a while, and that's just because of the gem mastery. It says when you pop a medkit, you gain an extra charge on your dash. But we're going to go ahead and just skip over these guys since the bounties are kind of messed up right now. Going right to the boss. Start out with the jump, vulnerability, hit him with the axe. Again, just about face him as much as you can. Just try and keep that bleed and vulnerability application on as much as you can. Pretty much using Sudden Slam on cooldown, Ruthless Webbing on cooldown, and then the axes, you'll see they hit pretty damn hard, but they're like on a very short cooldown, but you get 2 stacks of them, so it's great. Alright. Occasionally your symbiotic protection will be glitched and you have to reset it with Pure Carnage. So just keep that in mind. So he just got manhandled. Carnage is definitely a beast at damage. So I'm going to jump in, get my armor stack going. I'm going to go ahead and use the signature now. And if he's still alive after this is done, you'll see how much his basic does to him. It's insane. I mean, that's just his standard free basic move. After you're buffed up from that signature with that talent, it it hits almost every time for like 200 to 300k, depending on your gearing, but it's nuts. So again, just try to dodge as much as you can, get into the areas where the projected attacks aren't hitting you. And like I said, since you're always in melee and you have a basic that jumps you to the targets, you really don't have to worry about your spacing at all with Carnage, which is really nice. It makes playing him pretty simple. But just dash to the other side of a boss and keep them going about face or like turning around. See, right now he's hitting all that direction, but I'm actually on the other side of him at that point. I've been noticing that a lot more bosses are bulwark, meaning they have the meat shield around them, the purple or the blue meat shield, so they can't take damage, which really sucks. So we're just blasting through this terminal. Hopefully I get something sweet for you guys. Okay, reset this shit. Really? Did he just one-shot me? Go ahead and do the signature. I tried to leave the signature until I have the 3 stacks of armor build up, but I don't really care in this case. I just want to get him dead, and this thing hits so fucking hard. So that's pretty much the build, guys. That is my Carnage that I've been using every day. I'm sure a lot of other builds are very similar to that. The talents are pretty much, I think, the best in the rows, but I guess that also depends on your build. But I hope you like this axe build, guys. I use this every day for cosmic terminals and patrols. It's been working really well for me. Just stay on your toes, dash around, and then use a lot of your skills basically on cooldown. It's pretty simple. And then after you use your signature, just hammer the boss with your basic attack. And that's basically the name of the game. Anyways, if you guys like this video, please leave a thumbs up. If you like the speed that I did this video at, please let me know. If you have any questions at all on something I didn't cover, leave them in the comments, and I'll answer those as promptly as I can. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It helps me out immensely. And I guess I'll catch you guys next time, maybe on a live stream or something like that. Well, peace out.